Funding for this program is provided by the Arizona Department of Education. Production costs are covered under Arizona's State Education Grant Job Training Partnership Act.
Minority kids come with everything they need to become educated, competent, fulfilled people. But the schools don't often pick up on that. What they pick up on is that this child is different from the other kids in our system. And so they think that as a result, this child has nothing to offer.
Indian people have a certain special cultural heritage that other people in this country don't have, that make them proud, that make them strong, and that make them not only just a people that have a place now, but also a people of destiny. They have a great future in this country.
We come from a different life, a life of balance, being able to balance ourselves out in survival, picking up the survival skills of the dominant world, and yet also retaining our culture. We've gotten this far, and we really want to share that with our children. We offer that experience to the non-Indian world.
Education, culture, and the fight for the future. Arizona's Native American students, a generation at risk.
Hello, my name is Mary Kim Titla. The documentary which you are about to see contrasts the unique and hard-won cultural heritage of Native Americans with the oftentimes bewildering experiences of Indian youth as they move through our traditional system of education. Education, culture, and the fight for the future offers insights into the dilemma of Native American youth who drop out of school. It suggests compelling reasons for changing the way educators view their students. In it, we hear not only from these young people, but their parents as well, while gaining a perspective on the solutions they share. The percentage of dropouts among Native Americans is very high when compared to other minority populations. Native American youth struggle against the barriers of language, geographical isolation, cultural differences, economic disadvantage, diminishing parental involvement, and lowered expectations on the part of their teachers. Yet, by dropping out, they pit themselves against an uncertain future. Academic failure represents only a small part of the story. This crisis, at the very time when America most needs a well-educated and productive workforce, affects every generation. Educators must address the historic diversities which students bring with them to the classroom. Parents must themselves recognize the impact which traditional approaches in education have had upon them. Parents must become part of the solution. Education is everyone's business. Effective solutions do exist, but planning for innovation in education and training requires the involvement of those with the most to gain: students, their parents, and the communities in which they reside. Effort and commitment are crucial in turning the tide for our Native American students, a generation at risk.
Hello, I'm State Superintendent of Public Instruction, C. Diane Bishop. In this capacity, I oversee the education of every student enrolled in a K-12 classroom. To ensure that we provide an effective learning environment, we have personnel on staff with expertise in specialized areas. One area over which we devote a great deal of time and financial resources is the education of Native American students. The cultural diversity of our state is especially evident through these students, and with diversity comes challenge. The Native American of today faces many obstacles, not the least of which is his or her ability to speak English. To this end, we have published documents which address bilingual bicultural differences and the central role of language, both for leading Indian students into the world of the majority culture and for building an appreciation of Indian life and customs. But we need to go a step further to meet the challenges of these students. We are working to promote parent involvement in Indian education by engaging the parents of our Native American students in the education process. This involves redirecting past patterns in Indian education which have not been successful. As parents and educators, we must become involved in the process of positive change if we must ensure that every student is valued by his teachers and family, that they are grounded in the use of language and, where appropriate, the use of a second language, and that they are able to develop the critical thinking skills and self-confidence to succeed. By so doing, we will take those necessary steps that will enable every student to walk in beauty and in knowledge. Thank you.
In preparing this documentary, Dr. Steve Brown interviewed high school students and their parents, as well as many educators. Some of his exposure as producer of this program to the issues facing Native American youth at risk comes from the participants who attended the Arizona Parents Academy. This forum for parents is one of the first of its kind in the country and provides parental training tied to the problems of students dropping out. In beginning their dialogue, those who have chosen to share their observations with us seem most aware of the future. Theirs is a message of urgency, but one also of unconquerable hope and belief in the human spirit.
School is supposed to make people grow, fulfill their own potential, become, to borrow the phrase from the Army, all that you can be. But for minority kids, often schools don't do that. Not out of an evil intention, but because of a lack of sensitivity to where the kids are coming from and what their experiences have been and what they bring to the school. I see it as a situation where we're asking children who come with a tremendous amount of talent and experiences and cultural wealth of their own to change and become somebody else, as if we were to take a peach seed and say, we want you to turn into a pear tree. Minority kids come with everything they need to become educated, competent, fulfilled people. But the schools don't often pick up on that. What they pick up on is that this child is different from the other kids in our system. And so they think that as a result, this child has nothing to offer. And instead of building on the foundation of what they know already, we try to change what they know and pretend that Indian children are white children, or that Hispanic children are white children. That's a tremendous failure. Instead of telling the peach seed, grow, become this tremendous peach tree that can give shade and harbor and fruit, we tell them, become something that you're not.
Developing leadership skills among Native American students is crucial for their success. Building self-esteem and self-confidence is not an easy task. The Tucson Unified School District sponsored a very successful community-wide Native American Youth Conference which dealt with the development of those leadership skills.
Let me give you a definition of leadership that I want you to take with you and use for the rest of your life. Leadership means willingness to get involved. Let me hear you say that. Leadership means willingness to get involved. I want to compliment you for getting out of those seats and coming over and standing. That's number one. Here's what I want you to do. Watch. Repeat after me. I am a leader.
I am a leader.
And I am determined. To win.
To win.
Indian kids need to know that they're as good as anybody else in America, and that if given a chance, they can do as good as any other kid in America. And when they find that out and they get together and that energy that's there spreads across the room like it did today, when other kids, Indian kids, can see their peers getting up and saying the things that those kids encouraged each other to do, the tide has turned. The more and more positive experiences like that happen, the better it's going to be for Indian America, for America in general.
Parents will encourage you to go to school, yes, but they don't tell you how it is going to be. They don't tell you it's hard, but you got to work at it to get where you want to be.
People, sometimes they give up, you know. I mean, I thought about it lots of times, just forget it, you know, and just scrap the whole idea, because, you know, but after a while, you start listening to other people, you know. If you just try a little bit, people might talk you down. You don't hear the people that want you to finish. You always listen to the people who don't. See, your high school diploma is like your foot in the door, anywhere. You know, there's going to be a lot of people around trying to doubt you and saying they're going to assume that you don't know as much as you really do. And that diploma is just your foot in the door. I mean, it's like one step closer to whatever you really want. I mean, I've been lied to when you're younger, you know. It's going to be like this, it's going to be like that. But you only have to talk to the people who've been there first to really find out.
More classes on the Native Americans to teach us about our culture. Because, you know, I don't know anything about my culture because I just don't live in that society. There is a lot of them that don't want to admit that they are, you know, Native American because it's like, I guess to them it's a put down, but there's a lot of opportunities that if you prove that you're a Native American, that you can get scholarships and many other jobs.
Octaviana, tell me the purpose of the program here today.
We feel it's real important for students to have choices in whatever decisions they make in reference to school, in reference to home, in reference to careers. The whole theme is empowerment. And empowerment is an essential not only with students, it's an essential with Indian parents and Indian families if we're really going to become the decision makers of our own destiny. I think we can do some things now and take the Band-Aid approach, and sometimes you have to do that. You know, like what can I do before the doctor gets here if it's a major surgery that we're talking about. And when we look at excellence and when we look at quality in education for all Native Americans, we really have to look at the whole system. And basically, the whole system has to change, meaning the educational system. It's not working for Native American students, it's not working for black children, it's not working for white children, it's not working for, Hispanic children. Basically, we're looking at a system that's archaic. I think that we need to really look at revamping the whole educational system if we're going to really make a difference as far as dropout prevention.
Jasper, do you have your own point of view about some of the changes that need to take place in the schools, particularly for Native American students? Why don't you share some of those thoughts with us?
Well, I think a lot of the change has to come from both sides. Certainly from the administrative side, which has to educate themselves to be more aware of what's going on. For a long time, they've allowed themselves to be ignorant, to remain ignorant, not being supportive, relying on federal dollars, which, as we all know, are not hard money, soft money. They've not been able to create change because those people in those positions feel sanctioned by those federal programs, regulations. They've not allowed parents to become involved. They need to begin to educate themselves, to become aware of what we as parents have to offer. We come from a different life, a life of balance, being able to balance ourselves out in survival, picking up the survival skills of the dominant world, and yet also retaining our culture. We've gotten this far and we really want to share that with our children. We offer that experience to the non-Indian world. But so many times they refuse to accept that. They're thinking a lot with their minds instead of their hearts. They forget that the children are the main reason why they're involved in their positions. We as parents will never forget that. And when Native American people gain those skills and that knowledge to become self-sufficient, their efforts are stifled by the system because that reflects upon someone who has so much control and power. Why a Native American? Why are these thoughts coming from this person? They're not supported. They're ignored. Power is always scary. I think I would not look at it as power, but a way of educating those who are still ignorant, blinded by their education, and an education that they're not using in a positive way. You know, everyone's entitled to how they are going to implement their learning. So I would offer assistance in educating them and bringing them back into reality that the people that they use as numbers and statistics are not the people that they're serving. They're not making that impact. I would provide them with the opportunity to go and visit Indian people, have direct dialogue, communication with those people, instead of them placing themselves at a distance where they recognize those bodies of people who speak out. Maybe not in the good effort of Indian people, but they speak out. So those non-Indian people say, those people represent the Indian community. I would encourage those people in those decision-making positions to go out and meet the Native American people in the community. It takes a learning from both sides. I've been able to learn the system for survival purposes. I've learned about the political arenas, the bid for power. That doesn't interest me because the power I see are in the eyes of the children that will be our leaders tomorrow. What I want to do is to help create change by offering assistance and also the opportunity for other parents to become involved.
If you could give a grade, A, B, C, D, or F, to what you see happening right now in this district, in this area, in the state, what grade would you give it?
An F minus.
The parents want their kids to go on, and they want them to be successful, and yet the parents have not had the education that the kids have had. So sometimes there's two different realities. They don't realize what the kind of pressure these kids are under. It is tough to be a teenager in America today, no matter who you are. And when you have to live in both worlds, I think parents need to get more involved with the educational process. They don't realize that their kids are looking to them for direction and for guidance. And I would encourage parents to get more involved. Do what they can, but also encourage the kids to do well in school, like most of these kids spoke up today about education is key. Support them, find out what they need from their schools, how they want their schools to get involved with them, and then follow through with it. We said today that leadership is willingness to get involved. Parents need to get involved with that process as well.
In the summer of 1989, Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff sponsored a series of parent training workshops for Native Americans called the Parents Academy. Academy sessions were directed by Dr. Steve Brown, but the real leaders were the parents and high school students who attended.
The purpose of the Parents Academy is to work with parents in helping them work more effectively with their own children, whether it's helping them with things related to school, maybe in some cases helping to keep them in school. We're going to talk about such things as improving communication skills, study skills, homework, things related to discipline, and other areas. We have that situation out on the reservation right now where we just are not educated, to go in and talk to a teacher and find out, as far as parents are concerned, to be able to observe these things. And that's where we are right now, and it's something that we need to learn.
Lola and I, we know how we communicate with each other at home. And that I might be using that same tone of voice that she's expressing from there with Lola at home. But I didn't do that.
Oh,
here.
you're being a nice guy here.
Yes, but see, as a family, we understand each other's, and when I put my foot down, Lola knows what I mean. You have to think of the situation also. Was it totally her fault? Maybe she had a ride with someone and she's telling them, hey, I gotta get back to my house, I gotta get home. But somebody else, because of neglect on their part, it's gonna keep her from getting home at at 11 o'clock. If we said be home at 11 o'clock. But if she's gone further, more than, an hour or so, I'll be out there on the road looking for her.
My oldest daughter was in college. She attended NAU her first year. And then I had a daughter who was in the 10th grade, and then one in the 9th grade, and on down, And I just told them, I says, listen here, you better not drop out of school, because if you drop out of school, you don't have any chance at all. In this world, nowadays, you just have to have your education. I want you to finish high school and go on to college. And I think they were good about listening to me. And then now they tell me many times they want to drop out of school, but they always say, well, Mom is going to college now, and I don't think it would look good if I drop out of school. And that kind of kept them in school.
If you came from a background where your parents are not encouraging you to go to school or get the best of education, you are going to have problems. And especially if you have high expectation as a student to go on to higher education, you come to school to, say, a place like a university, then you're going to have problems because you're going to go into a totally different kind of environment.
Summer breaks are often seen as a critical time for at-risk students to catch up on needed basic skills. Kids are taught math, reading, writing, and study skills. But when basic education is anchored in a program that helps students transition from high school to college, these classes have significant impact. Let's now take a look at a program at Northern Arizona University that is offered to Native American youth. The Najoni Project, headed by Dr. W. Gilbert Sakastiwa, brings students to the college campus. In so doing, it opens many curious eyes to the world of higher education while fostering successes in high school.
The main purpose of the Najoni program is to orientate students who are anticipating on attending a university, whether it be NAU, ASU, U of A, or any other university in the state of Arizona or outside Arizona, to the rigorous life of what university is all about. So many times we have Native American students who come to campus, say for example NAU, who are incoming freshmen, straight out off of the Navajo reservation. And at times we find that these students will stay around for maybe a semester or two, and then all of a sudden they will disappear. I feel that NAU is doing a real good job at promoting their programs, but I think one of the things that we need to work on here especially is retention of our Native American students. We do a very good job in promoting our programs, but retention sometimes is lacking in some areas. I've been on faculty here for the past 4 years, and I feel that that's one thing that we really need to work on. I think the students, what they will get out of the Najoni program is that if they decide to continue on into higher education, that they will have a good, solid foundation with the Najoni project and the experience they get from the Najoni project as to what university life is all about.
What I'm learning here is basically math. It's one thing that I'm having problems with is the word problems. And now that I'm here, I sort of am getting a good chance to really know what I'm doing. It's really good.
The word is challenging. I never did so many homework in one day, and I never had classes so long. And it's pretty neat. I like it.
It's fun. It gets you really into it and motivates you.
The reason I came to this camp is that I figured it would help me reach my goal and help me find a career that I liked.
I think the program here is going great for me so far, and the classes here, I enjoyed them because they're a challenge, and especially the computers. Since I haven't worked with computers that much, I enjoy working with them. For the first time in my math classes, I enjoy it because I enjoy math, and it's a new type of math, the word problems. And it's a new challenge for me.
I have a vision. My vision is that someday we'll all be able to work together. You know, it may sound a repeat of maybe a great man that died a while back, but I have that vision. This can be a very unique program in this community, but because of non-Indian a non-Indian trying to gain power, as well as some Indian people who say they are for the children, gaining control and power. That's important to them. To me, what's important is increasing the opportunities and options for Indian people. I see my future, my vested interest in continuing are my children.
Each of us are a unique, special person, and each of us have to feel like we have like we can make a difference, and that we have a place in this life, that we make a little thumbprint, we leave tracks. And all these kids will be living most of their life, all of their life in the 21st century. They are our leaders. And we need to train them, educate them, give them the skills and tools to do that. What classes do you know of in school where it teaches Indians to live in both worlds harmoniously? To take the good from the white world, the good from the Indian world, and link them together, integrate them together to have a strong person. We don't have classes like that. It's workshops and leadership conferences and seminars like today that facilitate that happening. More and more of those kinds of things need to be built into the schools for minorities and for Indians in particular. I believe that the values, the perceptions that Native people have of this land are crucial to the destiny of America, I guess. Because when you begin to think about how Indian people feel like we're all related, the sky, the water, the green things that grow, and the four-legged. If it wasn't for those things, we as human beings could not live, and how we have to learn to live together and support each other in harmony. That message, those values about the earth and about how we're all connected, they need to be shared, built into the whole culture of America, because Indian people are the first Americans, the real true Americans. They have a great message for the rest of America.
So as I see it, the most urgent message that parents can give, as well as the most urgent message that schools can give to a child, is be who you are and grow from there, become more from there. Come from your roots, grow from your roots. Don't change and become a white student. We don't need another white student in this world. We need another you.